my focus today will be on the physical health. So then what are the benefits? What are the benefits of being healthy? The first thing is that it makes you a better person. Imagine yourself at work only after receiving 1 hour of sleep. Surely you become irritable, you become angry, you become annoyed, and you become like a nuisance to those people around you. And in that state of mind, it becomes difficult for you to possess the fruits of the Holy Spirit, which we find in Galatians 5:22-23, which are love, peace, kindness, long-suffering, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Clearly, when you have not taken care of yourself, it becomes very difficult for you to be kind. It becomes very difficult for you to be gentle. And it becomes very difficult for you to possess self-control. And when you do not possess the spirit of if you do not possess the characters of the Holy Spirit, it is easier for you to sin, which then separates you from the presence of God. The second point is that being healthy improves your productivity. When you are healthy, your immune system can easily fight diseases. Your immune system is simply your body's mechanism to fight against diseases. When you are healthy, you will not only become healthy for yourself, when you are healthy, you are not only beneficial to yourself, but you are also beneficial to those around you, especially your loved ones. A healthy employee is an asset to any organization. Imagine being off every other month. It will be very difficult for you to receive any promotion. And not only that, when you are healthy, you are able to enjoy the fruit of your labor. If we can open to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 12-13. If you get there before me, please say amen and help me read it. Ecclesiastes 3. So imagine working so hard, but not being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. When you are healthy, you tend to have energy for those around you. And when you invest in your health, you also invest in the health of those around you. There is a syndrome called fetal alcohol syndrome. It is a condition that happens to children that are born to parents who consume alcohol during pregnancy. And these children are usually born with a very low birth weight. They grow very slowly. They also have delayed mental state. So imagine what you might consider as something as a cup of beer or a glass of wine can have a long-term effect on your unborn baby. Another example is the example of secondhand smoking. Even though the smoke gets into your body, those people around you also inhale those toxins. And at the end of the day, they might end up having all sorts of cancers. And another example, something closer to home, is the food we eat. The junk you eat is also the junk that our young ones are eating. And our kids copy what we do and not what we say. So in the end, your investment is not only for yourself, but also to those around you, especially to the young kids. Investing in your health lowers health costs. They say, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. When you are healthy, you are able to save money because you cut down on hospital visits. And that money in the long run can be diverted to something else. Example, your children's education. Example of smoking again. There's a condition that we call chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, simply a simple term of destroyed lungs caused by cigarettes. And in that condition, you become oxygen dependent. So when you are oxygen dependent, you need what we call a concentrator, which is constantly plugged on to the electricity. So not only are you on this machine long term, but the bills also go high. You're not active. And then at the end of the day, you also give, quote unquote, a burden to the government because they need to supply the oxygen concentrator or the oxygen tank. So the 3 points again, the 3 main benefits again of investing in your health. It makes you a better person because it puts you in a better mood and it relaxes you. You do not become irritable. It improves your productivity, not only for your personal life, but also to those around you. And thirdly, it lowers your health costs. There are multiple ways of improving your health, but my focus will be on the things that are not commonly spoken about. And my first point will be on personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is a very sensitive topic because most of us do not know how to address it. But it simply means that it refers to the things we do to clean and care for our bodies. So germs, dirt, bodily secretions, and food can accumulate in our bodies, and that is why we need to clean ourselves regularly. It involves washing of our hands, dental care, washing, bathing, showering, whichever fits for you. Not forgetting our nails and our hair, please, especially for the ladies. And also wearing clean clothes. So hand washing, even though it might seem that it's something that is obvious, should be done after using the bathroom all the time. Before and after touching food, after coughing, because this helps reduce the infections that are entering your body. So these infections can be infections that can give you diarrhea, or infections that can lead to you to having chronic chest infection. Dental care. Dentists advise for us to brush our teeth at least twice a day. And dental care is not only limited to brushing our teeth, but it also includes flossing, brushing our tongue, and using alcohol-free mouthwash. The dentist also advise for at least 2-year visits to the local dentists. Now, we might say that not all of us have medical aids, but these facilities are available in the state hospital, as long as you just don't go to the dentist at 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. in the morning for a dental checkup. Bathing, washing, showering. Scientists say that you can bath 2 to 3 times a week. However, I disagree, especially in our African setting. So I advise each of us to shower at least 2 times a day. In the morning when we wake up, and at night before we go to bed. The other one is clean clothes. Clean clothes make you confident, and it's pleasant to be around somebody who's clean. Now, in as much as personal hygiene might seem to be something that is obvious, just like Pastor introduced at the beginning, it is not everything is obvious to anybody. So when you see that there's somebody who's lacking in that particular category, Pray for wisdom and show them how to do it. Of course, I cannot get into the specifics of that. I think that is something to be addressed in the different men and women fellowships. Personal hygiene is not only beneficial to your health, but it also improves your self-esteem. And when your self-esteem is improved, your mental health is also improved. The second point is to regularly visit your doctors. Now, what we do, especially as in the African setting, we wait for something to go wrong, then we rush to the clinic. But we advise you to regularly go to your doctors at least once a year for a general checkup. Have your blood pressures checked, have your sugars checked, check your cholesterol, which is your fat levels. And also, for women, if you are HIV positive and above the age of 20, please go for your pap smear. That is an examination that we do to test for cervical cancer. And the cervix is the opening of your womb. For someone who works in the cancer center, I see youngsters as young as 19, 20 presenting with cervical cancer. And one of the symptoms of cervical cancer is irregular menstruation, abnormal discharge from the genital area, chronic persistent abdominal and back pains. And if you're above the age of 25 and you're HIV negative, you should also go for your pap smear. For the men, if you are above the age of 40, go for your prostate screening. If you have a family history of prostate cancer in your family, go for screening as early as 35 years old. Because most of the times we see patients coming to us when the disease has already progressed. Those who are on chronic medication, please continue with your treatment as you are waiting for your healing. There are products, new products that are on the market. They come with various names, and they promise to cure. You'll see gout, HIV, arthritis, kidney issues, everything in one. And a lot of our patients come with those. And I always say, if there was something that could treat everything, then I would have been in a different field. So be careful. Before you buy products that promise you everything, have it double-checked by a licensed practitioner or by a pharmacist. The other point that I want to touch on is your sexual health. Now, in medicine, we don't use the name sex. We use the word coitus, and that's the word I'm going to use. The most vulnerable and intimate moment that one can share with somebody is during coitus. That is why the Bible says that it's only for marriage. Hebrews 13, verse 4 says, marriage is honorable amongst all, and the bed undefiled, but fornicators and adulterers God will judge. Fornication means engaging in coitus while single. If you are engaged, you are single. If you are in a committed relationship, you are single. So if you engage in relations while you are single, you are fornicating. Adultery means having coitus outside of your marriage. It's a sin, and God will judge you. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 18 says, flee sexual immorality, because every sin that a man does is outside of the body. But he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body. Now, most of us, I don't remember having a talk about coitus with my parents. I don't know how many of you have had that talk, but I know it's seen as a taboo, especially in our cultures. In our cultures, we are taught that you'll grow up and you'll figure it out. And it is through figuring it out that some of us ended up making mistakes. Or we learn through mistakes of others. Now, singles, there is nothing wrong with being a virgin. There is nothing wrong with being celibate. I know it's something that is glorified. We even make fun of 40-year-old virgins, 60-year-old virgins, and it's something that is seen as a taboo. But like the Bible is saying, sexual immorality is the only sin that you do against yourself. So you are abusing your own body, your body that is supposed to be a temple of God. Do not listen to somebody promising you heaven and earth. And this comes for both genders. And for our little kids, let us teach them what is wrong touching, what is right touching. Because now these immoralities come from home sometimes. For the married, adultery is a sin. There is nothing you get outside that you cannot get from home. All these, both fornication and adultery, come with shame. It comes with guilt, heartaches, emotional bonds. Imagine being emotionally bonded to someone that you are not married to. If it's so difficult to break up with someone that you've just been speaking to, what more when there's that bond? And not only does this come with all the shame, the guilt, and all that, but it also comes with diseases. Diseases such as HIV, herpes, hepatitis, syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and unplanned pregnancies. Now, if you are HIV positive, do not engage in either of this because the chances of you reinfecting yourself is high. And when you become reinfected, you become resistant to the ARVs. Working in practice, you see kids born with syphilis, and you wonder, what did the poor child do to deserve this? Diseases such as gonorrhea and chlamydia can cause infertility for both men and for women. In the woman, it blocks the fallopian tubes, the tube where the egg and the sperm are supposed to meet for the baby to form. And in men, it changes the mortality of the sperm, meaning it's not as healthy as it's supposed to be. So I'm not telling you this to scare you, but these are the realities of life. And these are the things we see on an everyday basis. There is nothing wrong with preserving yourself. But you might say, I'm not a fornicator and I'm not an adulterer. But you might be addicted to pornography. That is also a sexual perversion. Or you might be involved in masturbation, which is self-pleasuring. And you are only supposed to get pleasure from your husband or from your wife. The other point is rest. A few months ago, I posted on my WhatsApp status that there is no reward for the most overworked person. Um, so yesterday we buried a colleague. She was a nurse. She worked in the cancer center, and she was also dealing with cancer. And the last time I saw her was during ward rounds. And I could see that she was pushing herself. So I told her to sit down and to rest. She passed away yesterday, and we buried her yesterday because she's Muslim. So when I went home, my heart, I was heavy. And I was narrating to Vilho. I said, this lady was only 55 years old. And we know that in Namibia, early retirement is 55. So I thought, why didn't she just go and rest? I mean, she worked for so many years. And I looked at her kids, her and her husband, and I thought, she could not even get to retirement and enjoy the fruit of her labor that we read in Ecclesiastes. So rest. There is no job that is ever overworked. And work never ends. You can never say, I'm going to finish everything today, and tomorrow there'll be nothing. And if anything happens to you today, they will replace you. When our president died, a few hours later, they got somebody for him. That's it. And the burden had to be on the wife and his family members. So rest. We recommend about 7 hours of sleep, but rest can come in different ways. It can come in ways of, we can do power naps, you can read, go for walks, whatever works for you. Another element of resting involved setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with work, setting boundaries with your family members and those around you. My personal boundaries are, if I'm not on call, I will not pick up a call before 8 o'clock a.m., and I do not answer calls after 9 p.m. That's my personal boundary, because that's my time for resting. You do whatever works for you. Resting allows your body to recover. It helps you to concentrate. It improves your memory. It improves your immune system. Just think of the days that you feel sick and you go to bed for a few hours. You wake up feeling better, you're feeling stronger and less grumpy. Because we're all grumpy when we are not well rested. The other point 5, of ways to improve your health is through diet and exercise. Whenever somebody asks me what a healthy diet is, I say the more colorful your plate, the healthier it is. Because all your veggies are colorful. Now, I know that not all of us like veggies. I'm looking at Pastor. But they have long-term effects on you. And healthy food should not only be limited to what we buy in the supermarkets. If you can, grow your own food. Those of us from the north are lucky or are blessed to have access to traditional food. We have our spinach, you have embe, you have endunga, you have all sorts of things. It saddens me how every month end, when you drive through town, you see all these fast food joineries are full, and we call it self-care. And our traditional food is called food for the poor. So if somebody comes over and I cook traditional spinach and pap, you'll say, this person is stingy. Why are you cooking this for me? But the organic food is what is healthy for you. It doesn't always taste nice. But depending on the cook. But it does have long-term rewards. We advise for one to have your last meal 3 to 4 hours before bedtime, because that gives your body time to digest your food properly. We advise 3 meals per day and snacks in between, but we know that it's difficult. But you can play around. For those who work, you can go to work with your food container. Healthy eating also includes not overeating. Proverbs 23, verse 20, chapter 23, verse 20 to 21. Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23, 20 to 21. The Bible reads, Do not mix with wine bibbers or with gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty. You can eat yourself poor. And drowsiness will clothe a man with rags. So if you eat and you feel like it's enough, it's okay. It's okay to stop. So even if you go to somebody's house and they offer you a full course meal and you are full, it's okay to say, I'm good, thank you. So overeating is a lack of self-control. And not only that, but it leads to nausea. It leads to bloating. You experience heartburn. Sometimes you become unproductive. You sleep with difficulties, especially if you have a huge meal right before bedtime. And it can lead to conditions like obesity. And of course, obesity comes with its consequences, like high blood pressure, elevated sugar levels, fatty liver disease, and strokes. And not only that, but overeating can also cause feelings of shame and guilt. Also, being slender does not mean you are healthy. And a lot of us think that the people who are bigger in size are healthier than the ones that are smaller in size. But if you actually do the blood work, you see that in some cases it's actually the opposite. So if you are struggling with your diet, do consult a dietitian. They are also available in the state facilities. Now, healthy diet should be complemented with exercise. The two, there has to be a balance between the two. You cannot eat only and not exercise. And you also cannot over-exercise and not eat. Now, exercising is not limited to the gym as we think it is. It can be you choosing to take a walk in the evening, or opting to use the stairs instead of the elevators, or walking to the shop instead of driving in the car. The important thing is that you are consistent. One person who motivates me in her wellness journey is my mom. My mom is over the age of 60, and every day she gets up past 6 and she goes around the block, except on rainy days or on days of extreme weathers. So exercising not only helps control your weight, but it also improves your mood because it releases what we call the happy hormones. It improves your self-confidence. it gives you more energy, and for the married, it improves your intimacy. Healthy eating also involves water intake. We advise at least 6 cups of water per day, or 2 liters. Pure water, that is. So water has a lot of functions in our body. The first one, it helps regulate the body's temperature. So when it's very hot, you sweat, you become cool. And when it's cold, the opposite happens and you maintain the heat. It helps carry nutrients and oxygen from one organ to another. It acts as a lubricant for your mouth, hence my water bottle, in your nose, in your throat, in your stomach, and it protects your joints against damages. So the different ways that you can replenish water in your body is, number one, to drink plain water, and also have food that contains water, like your cucumbers, your lettuce, your fruit like your oranges, your watermelon. It's to carry a bottle of water, because if you have water with you, you will be encouraged to drink it. And also, next time when you dine out, swap your cappuccino for a glass of water. I'm looking at my husband because for a glass of water. The other point is substance use, stopping substance use. Substance is anything that is toxic to your body. It can be alcohol or any form of narcotics. Marijuana, smoking, vape, all of them, they all fall into one category. What stopping that does is that it protects you from acquiring diseases. It improves your mood, and it aids in your mental health. It increases your productivity, and it also increases your interpersonal relationship. Working in a cancer center, we see the side effects, especially of alcohol and smoking. The cancers that we see are mouth cancers, cancers of the tonsil, of the tongue, of your throats, prostate cancer, liver, all sorts of pathologies. And one thing I've noticed, when you are in a shebeen, it's very easy for them to pass on the beer from one person to another. Even people who smoke pass on the cigarette from one person to another. But when you are in the hospital setting, nobody's there to share their oxygen with you. You are on your own. And I'm not saying these things to scare you, but these are real life realities. And these are the things we see. And at the end of the day, it's the people who are closest to you who are there for you when things go bad. But the people that were passing on the cigarettes and the smokings, they will not be there. So in conclusion, every patient's wish is to be healthy. At the end of the day, it's not about your title, it's not about what you have, it's not about what the people told you to do, but it's about your health. So I hope we have all learned something. I could not go into detail because there's so much. And this was my summarized version of investing in your health. I hope we leave this place with a different mindset. And if there's something that you want me to clarify for you, we can talk after the service. Thank you, Pastor.